Welcome to Gurkha Guard, where we speak on courage, resilience, and leadership. In today's show, we have Biki Gurung, a chef and founder of Yeti and Monk. I, your host, Major Sarvana Naidu, a ex Gurkha officer of the Indian Army. Join us in today's show, where we discuss Nepalese culture through food. Hi, Biki Gurung.
Hi, sir.
Welcome to the show, the Gurkha Guard.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here, and I kind of honored too. Thank you so much for inviting.
Right. Vicky, let's not immediately roll onto the show. Let's the
Hmm.
viewers understand,
Hmm.
what is about our culture. How does it take for a person to come to a place where it is not their community and take it to take a challenge, to get your community, get your cuisines, get your culture. Or it's not about teaching, but it is more about spreading.
Hmm.
So I found you doing that here in Pune, and also you are the founder of Yeti and Monk.
Yes.
So I would like firstly, to know more about you.
Okay.
We will talk about Yeti and Monk
Hmm.
and further in the other rollout.
Hmm.
So can you introduce yourself, Biki?
So, Major, I'm from Darjeeling, a beautiful place, uh, one of the famous and like one of the what I'll say, like everybody knows about Darjeeling. It's about culture, it's about beauty, it's about weather. So like people, if you ask anybody from around the world, I'll say, if you know Darjeeling, they'll say, I know Darjeeling tea. I've had the tea. So yeah, I'm from that beautiful place, Darjeeling, and I'm very proud to be from Darjeeling, a proud Gorkha. I'll say like Darjeeling itself, it's very unique. It's a melting point of different cultures. I'll say it has a big influence of Nepali culture. It has influence of Tibetan culture. Lepchas are there. Even the people from Bengal, the Bengalis are there, Marwadis are there, even the Muslims are there. So it's a melting point of multi-cultures thing. So it's a nice feeling to be like a guy from Darjeeling coming here in Pune and doing all those kind of thing. It's a I'll say pleasure. I'm not quite sure like what cut it up. So sorry, I'm not getting that point. What do I say?
It's a great thing. So you feel great to spread your culture here
Yeah,
in
it's
Pune.
it's a great yeah. So yeah,
You have
talking
a great
about
feeling for it.
hmm, hmm,
So for the viewers to understand, the Gorkha Rifles, the Indian Army, also has people from Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Sikkim, and Assam. So the Gurkhas, the community of Gurkhas who are residing or who are domiciled, the Gurkhas have various, I would say, the culture and names associated with them. They are of different tribes, like erstwhile in any of the syndicates, whether in the eastern syndicates or so, everybody is tribe oriented. So there are nomenclatures and names. For example, there are Gurungs, there are Lepchas, there are Bhutias, there are Tabangs, there are Rais, there are Limbus. So these are few major tribes existing in Nepal, and they Nepal, and as well as they reside in Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Sikkim. Uh, this is how they're spread over. So in the regular army of the Indian Army, the portion of Nepalese from the Indian contingent are absorbed as part of the Gurkhas. So, so you can say roughly around 20% to 25% of every battalion in the Indian Army has a portion of the Indian Gurkhas serving in the regiments. To coincide more, let's talk more about Darjeeling.
hmm,
Right, Vicky. Now that you've grown up in Darjeeling,
hmm.
it's your birth and your, I would say, primary education, everything is from Darjeeling.
Yes.
It's known for Himal. हामी भन्छ नि हिमाल हो भनेर
Hmm,
हिमाल छ
hmm,
हाम्रो धरती एउटा पुण्य भूमि हो
hmm,
and every family of Darjeeling anybody is from armed forces because
hmm.
I think armed forces is a big community
It
for a
is.
hill territory
It is.
and Gurkhas are known to be warriors,
Hmm,
right? How we name is Gurkhas. So of course this is going to be more about their culture and food.
hmm,
So tell me, how did your Darjeeling, that is what has molded you, if
hmm,
I'm not wrong.
hmm.
So give us some features of what, how did Darjeeling mold you into what you are and what
So
admired you?
yeah, so as you said, like every household has a person who is serving in army. Even my father was ex-army. It's still like like he is a ex-army person. So even if I talk about myself, the village I come from, like it's a Phupchering tea estate as a whole. It's known as Phupchering tea estate. But the portion which I reside in, that portion is called as Subedar Gaon.
Hmm.
Because every person, like from every household, there is one person who's serving in the Indian army. So that's the kind of culture which we have. and because of that, discipline comes. Even like strict father, we have to follow all the strict orders from our father. Like if I do something wrong, I have to, like I will get, punished for that thing.
Okay.
So discipline is one of the biggest thing. Like like coming from Darjeeling to a alien state, like the people where they speak different languages, the food is different. To accustom with all those culture and new things, it's kind of difficult. The thing which really helped me, like was the discipline wala part of my father. Like it was there. So like anything comes up, even if they work for 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, that thing was so bothering. So it was kind of easier for me to adopt with all these things. So like even though like if I'll say, if you talk about myself, how did you get into this culinary wala thing? So my father was one of the, like I'll say, one of the person who has inspired me a lot to be in this thing. Like, my father, he used to go around all India. Like he used to be in like Kerala. Whenever he was in, like, I think once he was there in Kerala or Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu or somewhere. I'm not quite sure about the place. He was there posted, and he came back to Darjeeling, and he cooked me a sambar for the first time.
Oh.
Like for sambar, and like it's a world, like for me, like when there was TV utna nahi tha.
Yes.
So like sambar was, I don't know what is sambar.
Never had sambar.
I had
Okay.
sambar for the first time. My
Okay.
dad ne pakaya, and that
Okay.
was the first thing which I had.
That's so nice.
So the second thing, that was a disaster, I'll say. That was what do you call upma.
Oh, he made upma also.
Upma was like, in Darjeeling, what's it like if you make something out of suji, that
Yeah.
is supposed to be sweet.
Sweet. Okay.
Meetha hona chahiye,
Yes.
So I had that thing,
Okay.
thinking it's sweet.
Uh-huh.
Nikla salty, and I was like, yeah. So that was the funny thing which I had. And like same thing with idli also. White
Okay.
dekha coconut jaisa laga. I thought like it's like हम लोग का एक बनता है पीठा बोलते हैं, like
Pitha, yeah.
टेकली पीठा
Yes.
बोलता है. It's like sweet, like jaggery का put रहता है. And I thought he is making that thing.
Okay.
I was like, that was like, like all the cultural shock which I get, like for खाने में जो interest गिरा, like it was because of my father. Like I got into this culinary thing.
Because
it
of
was
him.
my father. Like
Okay.
yeah, he used to cook a lot, and like inspiration, I'll say.
Yeah, to tell you, see, all the armed forces personnel, na, because any infantry, खासकर people who are from infantry, they go to camps, they have to be serving at different places.
Yes.
So sometimes mini kitchens are something which is platoon organized kitchens.
Yes.
So they cook their food. So now that you've told your father was from Forge and you, okay. So let me ask you, now that in the younger days you already tasted sambar and so I think the perception of food, different foods started when you were young, right?
Yes.
And then it led to culinary and getting into hotel management and further on pursuing things. So there must be some strike which would have led you to take to hotel management. And what was it when you see, that is where you find real food, when you become chef. You find the real food, real taste, flavors, masalas. So for example, for our Indian community, what is it? Like you've seen a lot of videos happening, fast food. We will also talk about fast food coming up very soon. So before this, my question to you is, what led you to go to hotel management cycle? And what made you to come from there to also to you went to US? So let us also know about what were you doing in US? And why did you leave US for the reason, come back to India? And why you wanted to spread culture?
Okay.
So this, can you just go on to that?
So like doing hotel management were, like I'll say, as I said, like inspiration from my father. I used to cook when I was very young, so that was there. And the like the uniform where chef used to, like the kind of uniform which chefs wear, all the long hats, all the coat, that like that was kind of fascinating as a youngster. So that was there. Those two things were the major things. Like I wanted to join hotel management. I'm going to do this thing. And after joining hotel management, like there are a lot of like there are a lot of fields within the hospitality sector. Like there will be, like cooking is one of the like one of the branches, I'll say, one of the part of the hospitality thing, entire thing. Like there is service, there's front office, there are a lot of things which goes in. So we like we usually when you do a hotel management, you just get a like basic things corrected, or you learn the basic thing which which you have to learn about. Like if you want to go into hospitality, these are the things which you have to learn. These are the basic things which you get to learn. After doing a hotel management, you get an option of going into kitchen, service, or front office, or the other branches. So I chose kitchen because I was like more into cooking and all. So yeah, like after finishing my hotel management, I went to I was in Kolkata only. I did my college from Kolkata, Indian Institute of Hotel Management, and after that I started working with Hyatt Regency Kolkata. I worked there for around like 3 years, and that was one of the turning point for me, because Hyatt being one of the, I'd say one of the one of the best hotels in the country in India, or I'll say in the world, I'll say. So it gave me exposure to a lot of things, different kind of cookings, different kind of cuisines, different kind of style, different ingredients which I've never seen in my life.
Okay.
So those kind of all the expensive things, all the expensive machineries, I got to learn about the basics,
Yes. Yes.
those things was kind of fascinating, and a moment for me to learn a lot of things. So after doing, or after working with Hyatt for around like 3.5 years, I moved to US. So again, I worked in US also. I went to Hyatt only. So it's Hyatt, it's in the east coast of US. It's in Maryland. The name of the hotel is Hyatt Regency Chesapeake Bay. So I worked there for like 1 year, I'll say.
Mhm.
And it is a place where seafood is one of the prime ingredient, I'll say. And their blue crab, like that is one of the finest crab I've ever had.
Mhm.
So yeah, I learned a lot of techniques over there also, especially the working culture over there. It's completely different to what we
What
have it
Indians?
in India.
Okay.
So India is then like more focused on the customer services. They don't want to offend any customers. They want to be there for the customers. And like we are, I'll say, like if you compare hospitality as a whole in the entire world, like India's is one of the, like they come above everyone.
Everybody. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we don't in our culture as like there's this Bhagwan Devta. It's like when the guest comes in, we treat them like a
Yeah. Atithu
Aditya
Atithi
Devo
Devo
Bhava.
Bhava.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
that is one of the major motto of our Indian hospitality thing. So like
Correct.
they don't want
Correct.
to go, like they don't want to do anything wrong to the customer.
Yeah.
Whereas in US they are kind of casual, like whenever they are approaching with the customers
Yeah.
or the guests, they are kind of
Yes.
like they do it casually. So there is like chalo yaar chalta hai. That kind of thing goes on. So that thing also I learned, and that is also aspect of learning. There is also like hospitality में ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि like you are more into customer thing, but
Yeah. To,
keeping the balance,
to
I'll say.
speak more on that,
Hmm.
a lot of hotels also, today's the food, Akshay Patra.
I
You
guess, yeah.
know about Akshay. This
Hmm.
is a deviation from the topic, but
Hmm.
Akshay Patra is those who serve food
Hmm.
to children
Hmm.
who are who cannot afford for a meal. They are
Okay.
part of the midday meal program in
Okay.
the schools.
Hmm.
So all the good hotels, I think
Hmm.
Hyatt is one of them,
Hmm.
and there are many others.
Hmm.
Unka they have a trade set up with them that
Hmm.
the food which they make, a portion of food is contributed to
Okay.
Patra, Akshay
Yeah.
Patra, or let's say there's a huge party,
Hmm.
so the contributor contributes some portion of food to the
Hmm.
children or something.
Okay.
So those things happen. So
Hmm.
you would have seen those things happening in India or US when you were there in East Coast.
So
So
yeah,
just
like
was asking you.
there, like in India, I've seen couple of here in Pune only. I've seen couple of organizations doing this kind of thing, noble thing, I'll say. There is I'm not quite sure about the name. It's something Robin Hood.
Yeah, yeah, Robin Hood.
So
Correct, correct.
no, no, like Robin Hood. The name of the organization
Hmm.
is something Robin Hood.
Okay,
Sorry, like I'm not quite sure
no
about
problem.
the.
Yeah.
So they what they do is that they approach all the hotels, all the big restaurants.
Yes,
Like
yes.
what they do is they ask them if you have some bigger parties or whatever is, if something is not consumed, let us know before the thing goes like bad. Just let us know. We'll come and pick it up by ourselves, and I'll we feed the needy ones. They do all these good
Right,
things.
right.
So I just told them usually go to a five-star hotel. There is something called like patisserie or the bakery section.
Mm-hmm.
Their bakery, what they usually do is like once, if they are following the rule, if you produce one thing today and the another day, there is only like technically these 2 days you can keep the food, or
Okay.
else you have to throw it out.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It is edible, by the way.
Right.
So what I told them to go and tell them if they are doing this,
So you
they
serve it
can,
to them.
yeah. So they went to a bigger five-star hotel. I'm not quite sure about the name of the hotel. It was Radisson or Rich Carlton. I'm not quite sure. They went there
Okay.
and they approached the bakery chef and they said like, okay. And
Okay.
she was so happy and called me up and I'm
Very
like,
nice.
thank you so much for the suggestion, and really worked out. And like
Okay.
people, like small kids from the street
Mm-hmm.
getting the taste of like five-star wala cake and all, they were
Amazing.
amazing. So they were happy. So people are there, very good people are there doing this kind of thing. So here in Pune,
Okay.
so yeah, this thing happens a lot. So
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what, you know, it's more about culture, more about ethics. When we speak, there's 2.4 million children every day who go on to hunger, squaring for 2 meals a day. So it's an urge from the Gurkha Guard too. please contribute in whatever manner you can contribute to children or be part of their programs, midday meal program, the Robin Hood organization. There are many NGOs who do so in your cities. So this is an humble approach to you to get to those children and make some service to their segment so that the people of India can grow together. Right. So coming back to our Nepali. So segment 2 we speak some portion in Nepali too, and reach the Nepali audience too. Generally it's a shocker for people. When I go to Kalimpong or I speak in Nepali.
Yeah.
The part is because in the Gorkha fraternity, an officer is supposed to learn the language.
Yes.
So I will switch on to Nepali now. So मैले पनि नेपाली त्यसरी सिकेको मतलब हाम्रो जो केटाहरू छ उनीहरूले पल्टनमा जब म आएको त्यो मैले एबिसिडी पनि थाहा छ नेपालीको कसरी बोल्ने के बोल्ने केही आउँदैन बट तिनीहरूले अलिअलि सिकाएर मलाई यत्रो मजबुत बनायो आज होइन न म कहीँ पनि जाओस् अगर नेपालीबाट म नेपालीमै बोल्छु लाइक इट्स इजी टु कन्भर्ट्स सो त्यस्तो भएर मैले नेपालीहरू सिकेको पल्टनमा नि तो अभी लेट्स टक मोर अबाउट फूड हाम्रो जो नेपाली खाना छ नि त्यसको बारेमा कुरा गरौँ न लाइक यस्तो के खाना छ हाम्रोमा जेनरली मान्छेहरूले अगर नेपाली खाना भन्यो एसियन खाना सो दे लाइक ओके मोमो मात्रै छ दे डोन्ट चाउमिन तपाईँ फास्ट फुडहरू हेर्नुभयो होइन सो विल अल्सो टक अबाउट फास्ट फुडमा आजभोलि त यु अर्डर 45 मिनट्स within 30 minutes or something you get chow-mein, you get momos and things. How hygiene are they? What are they using in that? Is it good to make food so I would say processed food? It becomes a processed food because it's very fast in the market. So त्यसको बारेमा कुरा गरौँ. Then we'll talk about different delicacies. होइन हाम्रो पहाडको मान्छेहरूले के खाने छ लाइक गुन्द्रुक खान्छ लागि सो आई वान्ट मोर सो भन्नुहोस् तपाईँ के छ
सो इफ यु टक अबाउट नेपाली खानाको बारेमा बोल्ने हो भने कुरा यति कुरो निस्किन्छ कि लाइक यु वन्ट यो 1 घन्टाको कन्भर्सेसन वन्ट बी इनफ फर द्याट
करेक्ट
है सो लेट्स टक अबाउट फास्ट फुड तपाईँले जस्तो कुरा गर्नुहुन्छ लाइक पर्सनली है अब फास्ट फुड लाइक इफ यु कतिवटा कस्तो भने रुल्स रेगुलेसन्स हुन्छ इफ यु आर फलोइङ द्याट रुल्स र नर्म्स हुँदैछ भने लाइक इट इज एडिबल आई वुड से द्याट इज ब्याड अर एनिथिङ बट फर पर्सनली जुन चाहिँ एउटा टेस्ट आउनुपर्छ द्याट टेस्ट विल बी मिसिङ समवेयर काहीँ न काहीँ त्यो मिस हुन्छै हुन्छ सो लाइक वाट एभर यु डु लाइक if you for example if you're making a roti आप तपाईले त्यो रोटीलाई बनाएर राख्नुस् then you microwave it then have it difference है त्यो एउटा अनि अर्को कुरा तपाईले you just roll it तावामा सेके खायो
फरक छ उसमा टेस्टमा फरक छ
it will be like like जमिन आसमानको फरक so that is the logic is like which I usually even in my restaurant म कस्तो गर्छ भने people come मान्छे आउँछ अरे मोमो छ हुन्छ लाइक मोमो त हजुर मोमो छ भन्नै पर्यो है मोमो छ 2 प्लेट दिनुहोस् न भन्छ सो लाइक 2 प्लेट दिनुहोस् लाइक यु हेभ टु वेट फर अ व्हाइल बिकज हाम्रो कस्तो छ भने यु गेट द यु टेल गिभ द अर्डर वी स्टार्ट मेकिङ इट देन यु गेट द्याट टेस्ट यु गेट द्याट फ्लेभर्स होइन त्यो कुरो चाहिँ मिसिङ छ क्या सो वी युजली इम्फेसिस कि फ्रेसनेस गुड इन्ग्रिडियन्ट्स दोज आर द कोर टु माई भ्याल्युज एन्ड
व्हाट टाइम डज इट टेक लेट्स से मैले तपाईको रेस्टुरेन्टमा
हजुर
एन्ड मैले माग्छु कि आई निड अ प्लेट अफ मोमो So कति टाइम लाग्छ उसको प्रिपेयर गर्नुमा
सो नो लाइक मेरो शेफ वाला मैले यसरी ट्रेन गरेको छु लाइक इट हार्डली टेक्स अराउन्ड लाइक 15 minutes
okay if everything is ready you have ingredients on your table
yes
so 15 minutes
हजुर 15 minutes म रेडी गराउँछु है बट द फ्रेशनेस एन्ड द लाइक त्यो इन्ग्रेडिएन्ट जसरी बनिँदैछ दैट इज द प्रोसेस एन्ड द फ्रेशनेस इज द की
but त्यसको चटनीहरु सो एडिङ दैट
चटनीज आर समथिङ लाइक त्यो त तपाईले बनाएर राख्न सक्नुहुन्छ
okay you can make that and keep
that won't be an issue कस्तो छ भने लाइक खानाको त फ्रेशनेस हुन्छ नि द्याट इज फर मी अब हाम्रो कोरै त मान्छेले भन्छ कि वाट डु यु डु एक्स्ट्रा तिम्रो डम्पलिङ यस्तो जुसी किन बनिन्छ अस्ति के लाइक दे आस काइन्ड अफ एउटा क्युरियोसिटी पनि भनौँ कोही बेला कति कस्तो छ भने लाइक एउटा डाउटले पनि सोधिरहेको चाहिँ लाइक तिम्रो खाना यस्तो किन के हाल्छौ भने लाइक आई डु नथिङ न्यू द्याट इज लाइक वाट वी आर सपोज टु डु आई डु द्याट थिङ द्याट्स इट द्याट्स द सिक्रेट टु माई थिङ एन्ड आई वाज ओके चलो हो सकता है लाइक या वही है एन्ड टकिङ अबाउट हाम्रो खाना नेपाली खाना त जस्तो भन्नुहुँदैछ है सो देयर आर लट अफ थिङ्स है देयर आर लट अफ कम्युनिटिज है अब तपाईँ जानुभयो भने अब फर इक्जाम्पल लिम्बू कल्चरमा हेर्नुभयो भने उनीहरूको तोङ्बा है उनीहरूको यो
के भन्छ तोङ्बा इज दैट कैन यु आल्सो एक्सप्लेन बिकज व्यूअर्स विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट तोङ्बा मीन्स
तोङ्बा इज यूजुअली अ फर्मेन्टेड ड्रिंक मोस्टली मेड विथ रागी और व्हाट वी कॉल इज मिलेट व्हाट वी डू इज वी कुक द मिलेट व्हेन इट्स लाइक थोड़ा सा ठंडा हो जाता है तो वी पुट सम मर्चा ईस्ट इन इंग्लिश ईस्ट हालेर त्यसलाई हामीले अलिकति वार्म प्लेसमा स्टोर गर्छ when it is stored when it's matured then we squeeze it, we take out the juice, and we have that juice as in like a beer alcohol or the alcohol हाम्रो त्यही हो,
Correct, correct.
त्यही हो हजुर.
And for viewers, the Gurkhas in culture, they make their own rakshi. You know, rakshi means liquor. In terms of liquor, is which is homebrew. And how do you do it? Is there's something called bati jad. Bati jad means it's a rice fermented beer. So during the Sai and festivals in Diwali, so the culture of Nepali, they make rice. So let's ask chef. I know why I have my own way, but let me more ask about him. So Manus, the bati jad ko procedure, like how do you do it?
So कस्तो छ भने यो चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ जाँड जुन चाहिँ भन्छ त्यो समथिङ लाइक बियर टाइपको भनौँ न है, लाइक फर्मेन्टेड हाम्रो छ. अनि रक्सी भन्यो भने कस्तो त्यहाँ डिस्टिल गरेको छ कि अलिकति भए पनि. सो वाट वी डु इज लाइक हाम्रो एउटा ढुङ्ग्रो भन्छ हामीले.
Dungro.
सो ढुङ्ग्रोमा
Dungro is a huge wooden vessel.
नट वुडन भेसल, इट्स कस्तो भने इट्स अ मेटल के हुन्छ,
Okay.
इट्स अ हाइटेड भेसल.
Mhm.
देयर इज सम काइन्ड अफ पिलर इन बिट्विन
Okay.
विथ सम हामीले के गर्छ वी पुट सम वाटर. अनि वाटर भन्दा लाइक सिधा हिट आउँछ त्यो अल्कोहल जुन चाहिँ बनिँदै गरेको हुन्छ नि.
Okay.
सो फर्मेन्टेड जे पनि कुरो हुन्छ त्यो वी हिट इट, अल्कोहल छिटो बर्न हुन्छ.
Okay.
So it goes on the top and we put some cooling containers, like we use usually हामीले नयाँ फ्रेस कोल्ड वाटर माथि राखेको
Okay.
हुन्छ. अनि त्यो पानी ड्रिप भएर त्यो स्ट्यान्डको माथि एउटा कन्टेनर राखेको हुन्छ. सो अन द बेस त्यो एउटा जुन चाहिँ मल्ट हुन्छ मल्ट
Malt.
राखेको हुन्छ.
Okay.
On the top there is a empty vessel. So when the steam or the alcohol goes up, it gets cooled down and it gets dropped over there.
Okay. So
That
basically
is-
condense कर रहा त्यो
हजुर,
जो
distillation नै हो.
distillation.
Distillation हो.
Okay.
That's what we call is Roxy.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
त्यो चाहिँ रक्सी भइहाल्यो.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
another one which you're talking is kind of beer that is like कतिले छ्याङ भन्छ,
Chang.
तोङ्बा भन्छ, जाड भन्छ. That is like different name for the like त्यो एउटा procedure.
Chang is a Tibetan drink,
Yes.
right? It's a Tibetan.
Yes.
Generally, it's consumed
Yes.
at high altitudes.
Yes.
The Sherpas
Yes.
or the Tibetan community,
हजुर.
often in stories when I've read
Yes.
Milarepa and
Yes.
stories, so there's a mention of Chang,
Yes.
and that is one. There's one more called the butter tea. That is a different
That
thing.
is a completely different thing.
Again, a cuisine of the
Hmm.
the
So
Bhutias.
Chang usually plays a significant role in our tradition. It is like something which we offer to our god and goddesses too.
हजुर
छाङ्गु भन्छ हाम्रो लोसारतिर
हजुर लोसारमा
हजुर भगवानलाई like we
yeah.
usually offer them to the gods and then we have it. So there are a lot of things which goes and like if you want to make there are cultures like so traditions को छ भने if you want to make a strong छाङ्गु and all so we keep it for a while मतलब 6 महिना 7 महिना राखिन्छ. Then there we have it like त्यो के भन्छ the strongest alcohol जस्तो हुन्छ नि त्यो बनिन्छ क्या. अब फर इक्जाम्पल युएसतिर पनि यही एउटा कल्चर छ, मुनसाइन भन्छ तिनीहरूले क्या. मुनसाइन कस्तो भने तिनीहरूले हामीले जस्तो इलिगल रक्सी बनाउँछ नि, तिनीहरूले इलिगल रक्सी टाइपको मुनसाइन पनि तिनीहरूले पनि त्यस्तो
illegal
जङ्गल.
छ रक्सी.
हजुर त्यो त्यो मुनसाइन भनेर नाम
Okay.
कसरी अब हामीले रक्सी जसरी बनाउँछ समथिङ सिमिलर टु द्याट मैले इक्जाम्पल दिएको नि है त्यस्तै बनाउँछ. त्यसको नाम पनि मुनसाइन.
Moonshine.
हजुर मुनसाइन चाहिँ किन भन्दाखेरि
अँ.
तिनीहरूले यस्तो दिनमा बनाउनु सक्थेन. सो वाट डिड दे युज टु डु इज लाइक त्यो फुल मुन जब हुन्थ्यो त्यसको लाइट जब हुन्थ्यो त्यो लाइटमा तिनीहरूले त्यो रक्सी बनाउँथ्यो क्या. And because of that they got that name moonshine.
Moonshine. Okay.
त्यो पनि एकदम अल्कोहल कन्टेन्ट एकदमै बेसी हुन्छ and
Okay.
something like रक्सी.
Uh-huh.
So त्यो पनि एउटा सिमिल्यारिटी भनौँ न कहाँबाट टाढो टाढो छ तर
Right.
kind of similar.
Right.
So that is there like a lot of things like त्यो similarities भनौँ न त्यस्तै अब
That's
cultures
about the liquor.
yes.
So take us through Gundruk, take us through your
So
different
गुन्द्रुक अब
momos.
त्यस्तै भन्यो गुन्द्रुक मोमोज थुक्पा like I can go on है.
Yeah.
So like गुन्द्रुक भनेको कस्तो भने it's a fermented thing which is like a leafy vegetables which has been fermented then dried. So fermentationले के हुन्छ भने it gets or it's the like very umami एउटा stinky एउटा sourness आउँछ plus very like umami flavor हुन्छ क्या.
Correct, correct.
So त्यो चाहिँ one of the main or one of the major ingredient which we use in our Nepali cuisine है. So growing up in Darjeeling like गुन्द्रुक was kind of staple. So गुन्द्रुकको एउटा हिस्ट्रीको कुरा गरौँ like maybe I'm not quite sure about history हो कि के हो तर होइन लाइक एउटा हाम्रो बाजे बोजूले कथा सुनाउँथ्यो नि हामीलाई like it's kind of like एउटा फ्लोक लोरी जस्तो एउटा स्टोरी जस्तो हुन्छ त्यो भनौँ न. सो कहानी चाहिँ के भन्दा पनि अब राजाहरूको जब फाइट हुन्थ्यो एउटा आई थिङ्क ब्रिटिसर्सहरूले एट्याक गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ तिनीहरूकोमा पुरा खेतमा पुरा पढिरहेको थियो क्या त्यो मुलाको साग हुन्छ मुला एकदम उगिरहेको थियो अरे. एन्ड तिनीहरूले त्यतिकै छोडेर जानु भन्दा नि लेट्स कट देम अफ त्यसलाई लुकाएर त्यसरी त्यसरी ढाकेर गएको थिएछ. त्यसमा अब तपाईँको मुलाको साग पनि थिएछ धानहरू पनि थिएछ थुप्रो कुरो थिएछ बट सबै कुरो सडेछ अरे जस्ट त्यो जुन चाहिँ गुन्द्रुकमा हुन्छ नि त्यसले पनि एउटा स्टिङ्की एउटा अलग चाहिँ
Smell
एउटा
आयो
अलग
okay
चाहिँ खालको
अँ,
राम्रो खालको स्मेल आएछ
अँ,
त्यसलाई सुकाउन एयर ड्राई गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ एकदमै त्यो राम्रो फ्लेभर त्यसले युज गरेछ त सो लाइक फ्रम द्याट थिङ त्यो दिनदेखि चाहिँ आई थिङ्क लाइक वी स्टार्टेड इटिङ गुन्द्रुक भनेर भन्छ कि हाम्रो बाजे बोजू त्यसरी आएको भन्थ्यो
start of
हजुर
Gundruk is
स्टार्टिङ
that
हजुर कसरी
okay.
इन्भेन्ट भयो भन्दा हुन्छ नि त्यो चाहिँ एउटा ट्रेडिसनल कुरा भनौँ
So,
न अब
right, ladies and gentlemen, that now that the foundation of culture, ethics, food is one of the greatest, binder of any culture. So we were just discussing about the Nepalese food, the culture. So, there are a lot of delicacies in Nepali culture. So this is for all the viewers who are watching this to understand what cuisines are these Gurkhas do consume. What are the things which which inspire them. So let's speak more about the food, the delicacies what Nepalese, the Gurkhas have. Right, Biki,
Mm,
that we were just discussing about food.
mm,
So you can carry this as a format and you can tell. See
mm,
about let's say momo. When did it come?
mm,
How how did it come? Did it replicate from somewhere else, some other culture?
mm,
Did it come from there? And what are the stories behind it? And we'll also talk about basic, which you already spoke about, normal cooking versus fast food cooking.
mm,
We will also talk about what are something that spoils momos, like
mm,
let's say branding, or let's say it's about the taste culture, or
mm,
a guy, Asian guy making a momo,
mm.
and a guy from some other place making a momo is different, right?
Yes,
The two tastes different
it
because
is. It is.
somebody who's grown with the food knows what is the
Mm,
flavor.
mm,
Somebody who does not understand, he just makes it for commercial purpose.
mm.
So it's different, right?
Yeah.
So just take us through delicacies and
So,
go ahead.
like speaking about Momo itself, like
Uh-huh.
Momo has evolved a lot. I'll say, like people who are making momos are giving their own touch.
Uh-huh.
For example, there is a term now people use, momos and momos.
Mm-hmm.
So the momos wala people are like making it into something else. It is losing its own soul, and like people are making tandoori momos nowadays. That is
Mm-hmm.
like it's a kind of like like
So to ask you,
yeah.
did tandoori momo exist in the
No,
Nepali culture, or the,
no, no,
does
no,
it
no, it doesn't.
exist in the chef list? Is it there in the top?
Maybe for some, but for me, no.
But does it? Let's go to the five star. Let's say
Yeah,
Hayat, or
yeah,
let's not take name. But
yeah.
does these tandoori momo come into feature in any high-end
So
hotels
far, I
too?
haven't seen any.
You not seen it?
Like most of the reputed people, like reputed restaurants or the like hotels are. I haven't seen them doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But like people are doing it for themselves. So I won't say I
So
won't comment.
commercial
Yeah,
purpose.
commercial.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the origin. Like
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure
Yes.
about the timing, when and where. But as my father's not father, my grandfather used to tell me like ये तो Tibet से आया था. Like like kind of like in Nepali माथिबाट आएको नि टिबेटबाट आएको भन्थ्यो. So that is like kind of term that he used to use. Like I don't know like where and where, but thing is like it came from Tibet, they say, and the other way around, people usually say like in the late 15th century, I'll say, there was a Newari princess who got married to a Tibetan king, and there is a kind of terminology momo, which usually means like a steam momo in Newari Vasa.
Mm-hmm.
So on the other on the contrast to the story, what they usually tell is like the momo was taken from Nepal to Tibet, and from Tibet it got like yeah, it
Okay.
got like famous from there. And the
Right.
other way around is like like momos the basic thing for the momo ingredient came from China, and from Tibet to Nepal, and from Nepal who migrated to like there are a lot of migration like the people from Tibet who migrated during the war of China when China attacked
The
the
Tibetans,
Tibet.
yes.
The lot of people moved to Delhi, refused to they took refuge in India. So those people started doing own like momola business and get flourished. Now the people who have learned like the Indian people who have learned how to make momos, they are coming up with their own thing. Like tandoori momo is one of those. So Afghani momo, tandoori momo. So now they are doing this thing. So yeah,
So it's any name you can
yeah,
make momo. Okay.
yeah.
So it's that.
So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. The show is not about momo, but yes, we need to also understand.
yeah,
These are food delicacies
yes,
of a place.
yes.
So let me also ask you, if there is momo in India, what is common relevance of the same? Like you said something for China, this mota, or what is it?
So
It's something
there are a
similar
lot
to
of
that.
buns, like there are a lot of buns, like because some people call it dumpling. Dumpling, as in like it acts as a universal term for
Dumpling.
something which has been something in the wrapper and then
It's
cooked.
wrapped and steamed,
Yeah,
so it's
steam
called
could be
dumpling.
steamed, could be pancit, could
Okay.
be boiled. So
Okay.
yeah, like if you go to Japan, there is something called gyoza.
Gyoza.
Yeah, gyoza,
Okay.
something like momos only, but it's like pan fried.
Right. Right.
So if you go to Tibet, the dough or the wrapper which they use
Uh-huh.
is fermented one. It's the thicker one.
Okay.
When it comes down to Nepal, Darjeeling,
It becomes
it
little.
big thinner.
Yes. Yes.
It's not fermented. So like small things make it a little different. So if everybody has their own way of doing it, their own approach. So yeah, so that's basically the thing.
Yeah. So for viewers, also it's interesting to tell you something also from the army. In the regiments of Gurkhas, the Gurkhas officially miss food, the ethical momos and things. So you know what we have is something called the Gorkha canteen. Here, the boys from the Gurkhas who are in the service, they form a group and they make sure that they cook the delicacies like momos, chow mein, which is authentic to the taste what they would eat. Because troops of Indian Army, they are deployed at very far flanges from Siachen to the eastern part and the western parts. So not everywhere the food is available. So they try to do that so that they don't miss the that ethical food. And out of them, whatever revenue is earned, it's used for their own society. So this is a beautiful feel of how a society also binds with food. Right. So we spoke about momo. So now take us through, like the other day we came to your
Mm.
place. You served various delicacies,
Yes.
and they're all ethical food.
Mm.
What a Nepali or a Gorkha would like to have.
Yes.
Anybody who comes from.
Mm.
So we will here now discuss various like gundruk,
Mm.
kinema, and things. So kinema, I also have a story when you will speak. I will also share a story about
Okay.
kinema. So yeah, the gundruk. So can you tell us about?
So gundruk for a commoner, it's a kind of ingredient which is used in Nepali cuisine. Ingredient made with radish ka leaf, which is fermented and then dried in the sun, and which is used to make a kind of broth. We call it jhol. Gundruk ko jhol, as we
Gundruk
know,
jhol.
gundruk ko jhol is like kind of terminology which we use for that dish.
Uh-huh.
It could be eaten by itself. It could be eaten with rice. It also act, like my mom used to tell, if you have a bad stomach,
Mm-hmm.
eat gundrukojol. It will
Okay.
cure. So like a lot of
It's kind of a
probiotic,
probiotic
yeah,
kind of thing.
probiotic kind of
Okay.
thing goes
Because of
there.
the fermenting
It
value.
is, it
Okay.
is. So like like it has its own health care benefit
Mm-hmm.
also. It is culturally like for us, it's kind of like emotion. I'll say kind of thing which I have eaten growing up. So it's kind of nostalgic to me. So like anybody who's from Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Nepal, if you ask what is gundruk? Do you like gundruk? And nobody will say I don't like gundruk. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like like
Okay. Okay.
gundruk is kind of thing which I'll have it every day.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
yeah.
Because my guys when I was in the Paltan,
Hmm.
my guys used to be like gundruk gundruk. So those who went on leave to Nepal,
Yes.
so they used to get it in a
Yeah.
jadi.
Yeah.
Uh, is it allowed in when all the fermented foods?
Hmm.
Let's say there's a citizen of Nepal living in US or
Yes.
New York,
Hmm.
because Gorkha is spread worldwide.
Yes.
They are from Malaya to Japan
Yes.
to Indonesia to
Brunei. Yeah.
Singapore to New York to Israel to
Yeah.
Russia. They're everywhere in the
Yes.
country. Japan, every continent
Yes.
there's a Gorkha. So let's say fermented foods are not allowed in US. I
Yeah.
was seeing a thing. So there is a
So like
charter.
you don't have to worry a lot nowadays because like people are coming with a lot of brands, a lot of sealing.
Uh-huh.
Like, there are a lot of techniques. Even in like people in US also, they are making their own thing over
So
their
do you
own.
get gundruk there too in
Yeah,
US?
yeah, yeah.
So
So like
do you export it or how do you do it?
there are a lot of companies. I forgot the name of particular brand. They exported a lot
Oh,
from
is it?
Nepal. Yeah, you get everything. Achar se leke you
Okay.
ask, you can get it.
Okay.
So that kind of thing goes. Like in UK though, it's like like people like Gurkha from UK. Like they have a lot of influence and like they have their own stalls. Nepali
Okay.
stores. So yeah,
Yeah,
nowadays
because
it won't be. It's not a big deal to get things. Like
yeah,
of
because
course.
when the Indian Army and the British Army were
Mm.
being made, the
Mm.
Gurkhas, a portion of Gurkhas of
Yes.
the regiments went to Britain, UK.
Mm.
So we have the Royal Gurkha Rifle.
Yes.
So they serve the United Kingdom even as on
Now.
date, and they are also given the citizenship of UK.
Yes.
So I'm aware because they are there, the
Mm.
community would have
Of
spread in a
course.
larger base,
Of course.
and the food would have definitely
Mm.
gone there.
Mm.
Right. Switching back to our food delicacies. What more delicacies can you explain to us, which binds about your thali, we'll also speak about the composition of a Nepali thali. What are the key ingredients in a thali?
So like key ingredient, like what we call at our home, dal bhat tarkari.
Dal, bhat, takali.
So dal usually means like lentil
Right,
ka soup,
right.
or dal is dal. So like I don't have to explain it to all. So dal is dal. Bhat translate into a rice, steamed rice, and tarkari is any kind of curry. So like it's basic soul food, I'll say. Like dal bhat tarkari is the core ingredient of any tarkari or any kind of Nepali food. So if you're talking about Nepali food, dal bhat tarkari, masu, the another main
Masu is
ingredient.
the
Yes, masu is like like
chicken or meat, whatever.
chicken, meat maybe, like I'll say khasi ko masu
Khasi.
is there.
Yeah,
Khasi ka masu is like like goat mutton curry, I'll say.
Mutton, yeah.
It is up there. Then chicken, and like from the other people,
chicken
like
we say kukra, right?
Kukra.
Kukra
Kukra.
ko
Yes,
masu, and
yes.
then there is
Sungur ko masu.
sungur ko masu, which
That
is pork.
like
Yeah.
pork,
Yes,
faksa.
yes.
So that is it. These are the three main ingredients, or the three main protein which we usually consume.
Right.
And thakali, these are the things which you must have. And apart from that, achars, different kind of achars or pickles, it plays a very vital role. So as you said, gundruk ka bhi lot of achars we make. So that is also one of the main ingredients. Like not only jhol, we also make achars out of it. So it also plays a role in that achar. Thakali ka a part of thing is there, the achar.
So other day when we came, there was sale roti.
Yes.
So generally sale rotis are made during the Sai and celebrations,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So how do you intend to serve that, and how does it happen? Like how does it bind a community? Sale roti is for everybody? Does everybody have sale roti across your
Of
Gorkhas?
course. So sell roti is, like making sell roti is, like something like an occasion. So if I'm making sell roti at my home, all the family members will come along. Somebody will be doing this. Somebody will be like before mixer grinder. We didn't have mixer grinder. We used to use that morsel.
So can you tell us how do you make sale roti?
So like what we do is like it is made with rice. Rice. What we do is like we soak rice overnight.
Right.
We stain it, and we like let it dry for a while. When it's a little dry, we have to what do you call it, like mussel.
You mash it up.
We mash it, not we make a powder out of it. Yeah. So back then when we didn't have any mixer grinder, we use that that jhate is also different.
Jhate is the roll one.
Yeah, that is one. That is the one which is used. Kutne wala.
So for kutnu, it's a very funny thing. Mo kuti dinchu, like I'll give you.
I'll give you a.
So even that is kutnu, and this is also.
That's
kutnu,
also
right?
kutnu.
Okay.
So like like family members, like fathers, sons, they usually do that laborious kind of thing. Mothers will be like making that masala. In our Darjeeling,
so even till date they do the similar way.
Like kutnu wala part is gone. Like mixer grinder has taken that role.
I found very few places in Nepal when I was in Nepal. So I found very few homes having that. But yes, in the rural scape, I did see. What do you call that authentically? What do you call that? Kokri.
Yes.
So basically, there's a tokri kind of thing structure, and there is a thing.
We use that thing.
Yeah.
The one which you're talking about is like we call it jhate.
Yes, jate. Jate is the circular motion.
That stone one.
Chakki piecena.
That's chakki piecing it. That is the thing.
So to be funny, like वहाँ पे भी बोलते क्या तू आप अगर ज़्यादा वो चक्की पीसना है क्या मतलब you want to go to jail or something like that ऐसे कुछ नहीं होता in India this is a very famous thing ना हम लोग यहाँ अच्छा तुम्हें चक्की पीसना है क्या मतलब that means you want to go to jail and वैसे ना
so
right
so we like father and son usually get that part like I used to get that role of beating it up, making a flour of the rice those dried up rice we used to make a powder of it,
right,
and mothers are like especially the ladies part is to make that sell roti.
Okay.
That is like what we nowadays what we do is like we use piping bag to
just to roll
just
around
to fry the thing.
Okay.
Back then, like now still like my mom usually do it by hand.
By hand.
That is a technique. Like
even my mother-in-law she makes it by hand.
Yeah, that is another kind of technique which we have to learn. Like if you put it from up like little further up, it won't go like it won't be that good. If you are a little lower, you may burn your hand.
Okay.
So kind of balancing.
So you need a very balanced.
That delicate hand, you need to finish it up in a proper way and making a perfect shape. It takes a lot of practice. So yeah, it is kind of occasion. I'll say like if it is Diwali, if it is say any good occasion or bad occasion, sell roti is kind of thing which you must have it there.
These are the foods I started having in my Puritan because I never had these sale roti vagara. In our place in South India, we have similar called khajjalu. Khajjalu are circular pattern which are molded by hand and then again it's fried and thing. So here in Nepali culture, I found it very interesting. Okay, what is this? So generally, occasionally the Gurkha chutney.
Yes.
There is sel roti, and people who like to have beer, they have this, or jhad. So you call it jhad, right? Rice bati jhad or something.
Yeah,
So
John.
either of thing is offered for
Yeah.
them to have. So this is how I also grew up in Forge in
Okay.
the army, because traditionally this is how we celebrated in the army. To tell you viewers, all regiments in the army across, whether it's Rajput, whether it's Gurkhas or Mahars or any other regiment, every regiment celebrates their own festival. Like in Gurkhas, the famous thing is Dashera, or we call it as Dasai. So during the Dasai celebration, those who do not go home to their places in Nepal or they stay in India, so there's a grand celebration where all these delicacies which we just spoke are made here. Right. Uh, this is not the question connecting, but yes, I wanted to ask you. When you were in US, did you find any racism towards the Nepali food, or did you find it to be the people not accepting, or they were not aware of it? Like
So,
unlikely,
like most of the people were not aware of what
right?
Nepali food is.
Right.
So I had like an incident, I'll say.
Uh-huh.
So one of the chef asked me to make something for our food, like make kuch to banao.
Okay.
He was American,
Uh-huh.
and I made a siloti and no, क्या बोलते हैं, what do you call it? Tingmo.
Timo.
Tingmo, no, not Tingmo, sorry, typo.
Typo.
Typo is something, it's kind of a bigger dumpling. It's a fermented.
Bigger dumpling.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a big dumpling which is found in Darjeeling, and
So what is there inside the
so like
thing?
fillings are pretty similar as the momo.
Oh, right. Right.
Just the thing, the difference is the dough which we are using. Instead of using the regular dough, we use the fermented wala dough.
Okay.
It pops up.
Oh, it puffs
Yeah,
up.
it
To,
pops up a bit, and it's been really good.
uh-huh.
I serve it to him, and he was like, "What is this?"
It's
And
the
he was,
same typo which we have in Kalimpong, which
yeah,
yeah, the same thing.
yeah, typo.
It's the
Like,
same
it's
thing.
a
Okay.
bigger one. Basically, when I have to explain to somebody else, I'll say it's a bigger momo.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like momo, something like momo,
Right.
but it's
Right.
big in size.
Right.
So that's the way I usually explain them, and
Okay.
they usually understand. So yeah, I gave him that thing, and he was like, "What is this?" And then
What is
I made
it?
it for the first time, and it's like out of the world. He liked it a lot,
Uh-huh.
and like he used to ask me to make that particular thing a lot. Like, वही चीज बनाओ बनाओ बनाओ. कभी भी time आता था, make that thing for me,
Uh-huh.
make that thing for me. So I was like, चलो बनाते हैं.
Amazing. So there was an
So,
acceptance
yes,
which happened
yes,
in US too.
yes.
Okay. So coming to that part, now we spoke about thali, we spoke about what is their ingredients in thali, we spoke about sel roti. Now we'll speak about some eminent chefs of Nepal who have done their part to
Yes.
represent their community. Like we have Santosh Shah, we have
Yes.
few people from Darjeeling, like we
Yeah,
spoke.
of course.
Can you name few who have done
So
incredible
like,
things?
I don't say like as a hospitality itself, like there are a lot of people like who are doing great job. So one of them being, he is one of the top bartenders in India at this moment,
Uh-huh.
and he is one of his bar named Sidecar.
Okay.
Yes, his Sidecar it is.
Uh-huh.
It has been recognized as one of the like best 50 bar
Okay.
in Asia.
In Asia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his name is Yangduk Lama. I've been following him on Instagram and all, and he
Okay.
is doing a lot of good jobs. Like
Amazing.
he's making cocktails, naming cocktails after our Changu, like I'll say, like we talk about
Okay.
John.
Okay.
So he has a lot of things, which he has incorporated from Darjeeling, the Himalayas, and he's coming up with a lot of the things.
So it's not only the food, there is a liquor base to what he's making. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like he is doing a great job, and it's kind of inspiration for us. Like he
Okay.
is incorporating our culture, our tradition, our food
Nice,
to
nice.
like to serve the greater part of India.
Mhm.
So he's one of the he's one of the iconic figures who's been doing the food from Darjeeling, like, or the he's representing culture as a whole from Darjeeling and California. And another one will be, I'll say, there's a lady named Doma Wang.
Toma Wang. Yes.
Doma,
Yes.
Doma, Doma Wang. So I've been following her too. So what she had a very humble beginning. So like she used to have a small outlet in Kolkata, Sector 5. I think it's in. She used to run a restaurant in Sikkim House. So very small outlet. From there, she started her own restaurant called Blue Poppy Thakali. Blue Poppy Thakali initially it used to be called. Now it is one of the best restaurants in
Nice.
Kolkata,
That's so
and like
nice.
she has been named as one of the best 20 best chefs in India. So they are one of the people who are doing really good and like from the heels and doing great in their professional life. So they are kind of inspiration for us, and like we are learning a lot from them.
Okay. So basically, So these are, you follow them and you like
Yeah,
them.
like there, if you talk about culinary thing, there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of things, not only from my
So
place,
how do
but
you connect? So here to cut you, like how
because
do you
because
connect your
for
food to, like,
because
say?
like me from Darjeeling, like seeing all those things, like if you're doing something, kind of ingredient which I know a lot,
Mm-hmm.
which I love a lot,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like you won't find it here in the mainland India, and he is bringing that ingredient and making something out of the box from that ingredient. It's kind of fascinating, like it gives me inspiration to do something similar, like it works as inspiration for me.
Okay.
So yeah,
So you take inspiration, you draw inspiration,
yes,
like
I do.
everybody draws. So okay, so coming back and coming after speaking, so I did come to your place.
Hmm.
You had that 5 factors of
Yes.
which you. So can you, for the viewers to
Hmm.
understand,
Hmm.
and also now that you are in Pune, the Yeti monk is part of thing.
Hmm.
Why Yeti monk?
Hmm.
This will be the later question.
Hmm.
So we'll start with first with why Yeti and monk.
Okay.
Or no, before that, let's move to Gundruk.
Okay.
Interesting fact of Gundruk.
Okay.
So Gundruk is, I think, soya, if I'm not wrong. It's soya, or what is it? It's a
Gundruk is usually radish ka leaf, muli ka
radish ka
patta.
leaf and mulika patta.
Yes, muli
So
ka
it
patta
it
we.
does smell sometime, right?
Hmm.
So I remember my mother-in-law made one. She just
Okay.
took it out packet and she was, it stinks something like
It
that.
does.
And I ran away from my house. I was in the fourth floor. And I called up my sister-in-law. I said, "Yeah, something is wrong at home. Just check.
uh,
What is it? Some bad smell." So I ran to the fourth floor, and my sister-in-law is like, I called her my sister. I said, "Yeah, something's smelling there. Is there something wrong or something?" So she said, "No, no, it's kinema." That's the first time I understood. Okay, this is kinema and thing. But only I think I did taste after a few minutes. Okay, the smell when we went it
yes.
out. I think it's because of the fermentation thing.
Yes. Yes.
So kinema and gundruk are two different things,
It
right?
is. It is.
So what delicacies do you make from kinema? Like what do you?
So kinema, like it is kind of versatile ingredient, I'll say.
Uh-huh.
So you can traditionally it is used as a substitute for a dal. Like if you're
Substitute for a
having,
dal.
yeah, so if
Okay.
you're having a rice, if you want to skip dal, if you want to have something else, you can dilute it a little, and you can have it as a dal.
Okay.
Or else you can make a curry, you can mix it with something else
Uh-huh.
and make a curry out of it.
Uh-huh.
If you don't feel like making a curry, you can make a chutney out of it too.
Okay.
So there is a lot of
So that's an
possibilities,
option out of it,
yeah, a lot
whatever
of
you want to
ways
make.
to use it. So
Mm.
in my place, what I've come up like what I'm trying at this moment is I'm making a pork rib. I'm making a piece out of it and just applying it on the pork rib, and it's coming out great.
Okay.
So
So the
you could work it a lot on that thing. You can
okay.
come up with
So
different
it tastes
dishes.
different with
Yes,
this thing.
yes.
Okay. So now let's come to the aspect of Yeti and monk.
Okay.
Now people know what Yeti is, or
Hmm,
people may not be aware because
hmm,
Yeti is an Himalayan beer. Also, there are a lot of history, story behind Yeti being found on Himalayas. There are articles where Indian Army expedition found a 8 foot long, footmark of a
hmm,
Yeti. And certain places they even say in Tibetan, I think they've preserved in Yeti's head the hair or their nails.
hmm.
So there are all multiple stories about Yeti. So I think the Yeti resonates with Himalaya as a culture, as a protector of the wild Himalayas. Let's ask what Yeti and Monk differs for a restaurant and a cultural aspect. Get back to
So,
Yeti and
so yeah,
how does it?
as you
Yeah.
explained, Yeti. So Yeti as a creature, half human, half monster. Somebody like used to like that's the way they explain it.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a kind of in our restaurant when we were naming it. So we found it, like it's a kind of which Yeti usually resembles aggression. I'll say
Sorry, aggression.
aggression.
Yeah.
So like and the monk is kind of cool, calm. Like we thought like why not Yeti and the monk, a combination of like aggression and calmness, yin and yang.
Oh, yin and yang.
So
Okay.
like when you
Right.
combine it, like a kind of balancing factor which comes
Right.
in. So like
Right.
aggression and the calmness of a monk. So yin and yang thing came up, and we like let's do this thing. So it came up like that.
Right.
So yes, and in our restaurant, like there are a lot of factors or a lot of things which we follow. One of the thing which you mentioned, the five
Elements.
senses.
Yeah.
So to create a wholesome experience, like there are, if you're experiencing something, there are five factors. There is the like you touch it, you smell it, you see it, you feel it, and you listen to it. These are the five like senses which is usually subconsciously also you usually store it in your mind, but you may not be doing it like you may not be able to. You won't be like saying it like you are collecting that kind of thing in your mind, but like subconsciously you are getting that kind of thing in your head. To create a wholesome experience, we have to have that elements. So what we did is like we have in our restaurant, whenever you're coming in, you have to remove your shoes. That thing is something, when you remove your shoes and step into a restaurant, the cool floor gives a sense of touchful essence is there. And you, when you go into a restaurant, you get that smell of what do you call it, sang, a wooden
Song.
sang is something, like which is used to, which is offered to a deity. So
It's a traditional herb or
traditionally
something.
herb, like a kind of herb which is usually found in Himalayas. It's a pine wood.
So it's the
And
same sang which is in the gumbas, which is
yeah,
used in
the
gumbas.
same thing,
Okay,
same thing.
okay,
Sang we call it. Like it's
sang.
made with juniper berries. They say
Uh-huh.
juniper tree, and there is also, I don't know the English name for it. We call it sunapati, a kind of small
It's a
herb.
leaf.
It's a leaf. So it's very, like it has its own essence. So it, like we use it in that thing.
Okay.
So it is offered to a god, and in Tibetan culture, offering that smoke to a god, like it's a kind of a mythical thing, or what we usually believe is that like smoke acts as a
Cleanser.
means to connect like earth to the heaven.
Okay.
So that's a basic, like
That's the
that's the
relation there.
thing which kind of like which my grandmom told me, like this is the way why we do it. So that is the thing. You smell it, that pine cast smell, you'll get it whenever you enter my restaurant. That is there. The food is itself is there. And the music which I play is all the folk song, Nepali song. Whenever you're sitting in my restaurant, you'll get that sense that you don't feel like you're sitting in Pune. So that's my thing.
So you get them onto a different platform
Yes,
and help them to feel that,
yes.
you know,
All the
like
senses are activated, like I'll say the five senses are there, all the senses are activated by food, by
very true,
sound. Yeah.
very true. You
So
see, lately today in the modern concept we have chairs and table, but I remember even when I was young, I used to sit down in the
yes.
floor, and you have a thal in front of you,
Mm,
and you bend down and have
mm,
with fingers. No, no spoons and things.
mm,
But I think lately the concept of food,
yes.
fast food, these things have actually spoiled in the way the food,
Mm,
because people are often, the spiritual gurus also say that
mm,
whenever you eat food, stick to the food
yes.
and do not get onto mobile. But I think today, the generation is such that we have to see something.
Yeah.
Our mind is so it's so working. We're not on conscious eating. So the
Yes.
word is basically conscious eating, right?
Yes. Concentrating also.
So that is I think the perfect thing which you trying to get in, so that
Yes.
people respond, speak to
Mm,
each other,
mm,
enjoy the calmness of the ride. So that being said, so about Yeti and Monk, so how are you connecting people, and have the people from, see, this is not a place where the community may be living here. There are
mm,
larger people of Nepalese
mm,
origin, Gurkhas, may be living
mm,
here. How are the people respond, others from who are not a Nepali origin, who
mm,
are not aware of
mm.
food, how are they responding to the fact of
So
this?
honestly speaking, like most of the business comes from these people who don't know anything about our culture.
Right.
So like less than 10%, I'll say, the people who come to our restaurant are from my place, who knows Tibetan culture. Rest of the people who comes to our restaurant is the local Punekers and the people who are not aware about this particular
The
culture.
particular food,
So when
yeah.
they come to our restaurant, when they comes in, like they feel whatever the essence at all, they usually can, like all the senses get activated, and they usually find themselves in a very calm place
Calm
where they're
place.
having that food, and like they are just totally disconnected with the
Yeah.
outer hustle and bustle. So that thing is there, and our food is there. So everything connects,
Yeah.
and people tend to love it a lot. So once the people are here, like they tend to come again and again.
Very
So
nice.
yeah.
I went to Maharashtrian restaurant here. So
Hmm.
we also had Maharashtrian thali. So
Hmm.
there's bakri, there is
Yes.
meat, and there is everything. It's interesting also to see their thali and our thali.
Yes.
The factors are almost similar.
Yes.
Yeah, leaving the bakri part, the most of the party like the rice part, the mutton part, or the dal and Maharashtrian dal. So when you say thali, na, our Indian culture, and let's even relate to Nepali, the aspects are almost similar
It is.
with respect to the
It
food,
is. It is.
but yes, the cultural value, the fermentation process of a food is very different from what
Yes.
these delicacies are served in. So now that you told that, yes, the people who are non-origin, who are new guys who want to taste them, so they are enjoying this. So apart from this, how do you build your community? How are you spreading the culture? This is one of the ways, the food.
Hmm.
Is there anything else you are trying to do with the taking up?
So, like, like if you have my restaurant itself speaks a lot about our
Correct.
culture.
Yes.
Like if you go to my restaurant, you will see all the Tibetan
There's a Buddha
thing.
painting
Yes, yes, yes.
in the
So
beginning.
like
Yeah.
I don't have to say anything, or I don't have to go to a table and I'll have to tell them, I'm doing this kind of thing by itself, by the like essence, by the conscious talk, eating, whatever it is. Those things comes in, and I don't have to tell anything.
Nice.
People gets to know, like when they're done with the meal, they usually comes to me sometimes. Why are you doing this? What is the origin?
They
The
come to you.
curiosity builds up
Okay.
whenever they're having it through their entire course, whatever they have, whatever
Mhm.
all the things, creates a kind of curiosity
Uh-huh.
within them, and they comes to me and they ask me, and I'm very glad to
You're happy
explain
to.
them. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So that's the way
Fantastic.
usually spread them. So like my culture, my whatever it is.
Amazing. Nice to hear that. So now we'll have a rapid fire session. We'll ask you a few questions. Before that, I will also tell viewers when I went to the restaurant, the chef himself served a thali which had, which had mas, which is chicken, which had sag, which is about vegetables. There were dal. There was a sweet dish, and there was much like what was that you served? There was dry fish or something.
Yeah, Sitra Kocha.
Shitra ko ashar, and there was the rice which you made was not the normal rice. It's about
Corn.
maize, corn rice. Sorry.
Yeah.
And what do you call it in Nepali?
So we call it moki ko bhat.
So for viewers, it's called mokai ko baat. That means it's corn rice. Basically, corn is broken. It's blended with rice and it's cooked. So this is also a delicacy which the Nepalese consume. So when you say a wholesale thali, which just chef explained and what I have also shared, is about all these ingredients: meat, rice, dal. There is lentils. There is fermented sabji. There is achar which is made home. There is gorga chutney. So these are the traditional, plate viewers for what the typical Nepali would like to have. Now the question is whether every day. Yes, most of the food which is made is generally
Yes.
made every day in
Yes.
Nepali culture because
Yes. Household, yeah, Nepali
household. When I
household.
went to Nepal and Darjeeling
Mm.
too, these things are
This
generally
is
made.
like everyday kind of thing.
One more fantastic thing which I'd like to ask is why is that thal?
Mhm.
The thal is plate is
Mhm.
of thamba or pital or what do you call? It's about brass.
Mm.
Why is it in Nepali culture that people?
So Nepalese culture is, I'll say, it's also influenced with Hinduism a lot. So serving food in a not brass, I'll say what do you call it, kasa.
Kasa, yeah.
Kasa ko thal is in Ayurveda you'll go deeper. So it is believed that having food in a kasa ka plate or whatever utensils is very good for your health.
Mm-hmm.
It usually don't retains any microorganism. It tends to kill itself. So
Okay.
it has own benefit having it.
Right.
So
right.
like if you go on that way, it's one of that reason why you
So
have.
that is a traditional value to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Because whenever I go home,
Yeah.
that's my mother-in-law. That's the plate which is
Yes.
kept for us.
Yes.
So I often ask her also. So it has the same answer. So I just wanted to know more about from you. Right. So let's go to the rapid fire now.
Okay.
Okay. Questions to is. So it's going to be choose one of them. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll say homemade food or restaurant food.
Of course, homemade food.
Okay.
No cha.
Asian food or Maharashtrian food.
I'll say Maharashtra is in Asia only, so.
So okay.
I like both.
That
I
was a
like both.
blooper. Okay. 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 Momos from a fast food outlet which serves in 20 minutes, and momo from a restaurant where you make it at a restaurant.
Of course, later one.
From where you make.
Yes.
Right. The next question would be what's your favorite delicacy in Nepalese origin? Is it ba dal sabji or it is something
It's
else?
a very tough question you've asked me.
Okay,
So, if I'm not in the mood to make anything,
Okay.
dal bhat tarkari is a go-to kind of thing.
So that's a go.
Yeah, like I can make it anytime very fast. So that's kind of thing. Like
So-
if I'm in a mood, momo with some soup and chutney. That is like
so when you have fight with your wife or say spouse, so what's the food that she would demand? That, okay, you go and make this food. What's it like? How do you pacify her?
hers is kind of different. I'll say.
How is it?
She is much into dachi. She has an influence of Bhutanese culture. Like
Okay.
her father used to work in Bhutan.
Okay, Bhutan. Okay.
So she loves dachi a lot.
Okay.
Dachi is also kind of dish, very soulful dish made with cheese, chili, and the basic ingredients are cheese and chili. And if you want to add some potatoes in it or meat in it, that's it. Nothing much.
Okay.
That's it.
So that's the dish you make.
Yes.
So you pacify her
Yeah.
presenting it.
That's it.
Okay, this is where you
It
are.
is.
Okay. Right. So let's say Nepali food versus I'm not saying Indian food versus American food.
Hmm.
So here we discuss few aspects just in points. So we are aware of Nepali food. American food or the for let's say foreigners food हमारे
Hmm.
देसी इसके लिए ये सारे packaged होते हैं. Most of
Yes.
them are packed.
Yes.
You know, they're all open,
Hmm.
sealed,
Hmm. Hmm.
taken,
Hmm.
cooked,
Yes.
and had.
Yes.
You've been in US, you
Yes.
also are aware the foods come
Yes.
there in packaged form.
Hmm.
What difference do you find? Are the preservatives a problem for us, for the consumers,
Hmm.
leaving apart the taste? Because obviously taste would not be the same
Yes.
when you cook fresh.
Yes. Yes.
So what are the positive negatives which you can attribute to the
So it depends upon your condition. Like if you don't have time, mostly nowadays, time is one of the biggest factor. Like we are using preservatives to keep the thing because you don't have time to like make it fresh.
uh-huh.
That is one of the factors that is there. Like if you have time, if you could cook, then preservatives is no. But if you have time, if you don't have time, like don't have anything, you are compelled to eat those things. So like medical, like if you talk about preserving food, there are a lot of things. If you're using kombucha, if you're having kombucha, like a kind of drink which is preserved and then it's very good for your health. But something like a common thing, very basic thing like chicken. If you're storing it in a freezer for months and then having it,
So
it's yeah.
basically
So
what trying yeah.
there are the two different things, and if something which needs to be preserved for it to develop
So
its
there is a
goodness,
time for everything
yes.
and
So if something which is supposed to be eaten right away, and if you keeping it for a while and having it, like
so does that taste tasty? I mean to say the packaged food,
hmm,
like in see, we were just discussing the other day
hmm,
with my partner Chopde
hmm,
that MREs, it's about meals
yes,
ready to eat.
yeah,
So the foundation of the army when we used to fight wars and things like KFC thing, na?
yes,
So that and all came up in World War. If you know
yes,
KFC, how did
yeah,
it came because of the World War thing, protein thing and
yes,
all. So if you look at an MRE, the meals ready to which you are also
yes,
aware. So you've got compositions,
hmm,
various
hmm,
compositions. So there's rice, there is dal, gajar ka halwa hai, there is there is halwa hai, usme normal or suji
yeah,
wala halwa hai. So it's in a dried and powder form. There is milk which is kept in powder. You just milk, add water, thanda pani bhi because so these are meals ready to eat when the army goes into operation, when
yes,
there is no langar or a cook house
yes,
for where they can fetch the food. This is where we have. So MREs are again World War concept because they used to fight wars for longer
yes,
durations.
yes,
So the MREs were again available for them.
yes,
The fresh food used to come
yes,
little later.
yes.
So are you aware of MREs
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so what
My
is
father is from Amish, so like
yeah?
like
So
these things are
you've
yeah,
understood about what
yeah.
MREs mean and things.
I got a chance to taste it once,
Oh,
but the
did it? How did you find it?
taste was like it was like okay, chalo
फौजी फूड
halwa,
है
halwa hai to halwa hai, chalo kha
हलवा
lete
है
hain. So that kind of thing.
but the day I had it I
Uh,
really felt it very happy because it was very
okay,
tasty actually
yeah,
for me
because the condition might be like you were
or
in
maybe I
some
was in very
yes tough conditions,
tough
and then you're
condition and
having
hunger
that. It's will be a
typically I was in Rajasthan I will not tell you the place
okay.
so I was in a dunes and we were doing some activity there so this exercise was around 72 hours
Yes.
so we were out and we had 5 liters of water
Okay,
so the authorized portion of water is only 5 liters of water.
okay, per person.
Yeah, so you take it for you want to cook, you want to eat, you want to do
Okay,
whatever. So that's the only thing which you have.
okay,
No more water because see,
okay.
you're carrying a large scale.
Yes.
So when you have weapon of
Uh,
4 to 5 kgs, you have a helmet, you
yes.
have your vest, you have your baggage.
Yes.
So you have your dress, you have
Mm,
ration, you
mm,
have equipments which you're
yes.
carrying across, weapons, ammunition. So
Yeah.
a soldier who's around 80 kgs has almost the one half the weight again with him.
Okay.
है ना क्योंकि हथियार ammunition
Yes.
वगैरह है secondary weapon and so on and so
Yes.
forth. So that is when MRE is also component of your bag. So if you are out for a
The
longer
situation
duration,
itself tells everything. Like
yeah, whatever
वो
is available.
situation में आपको वो खाना मिल रहा है तो obviously you wanna love it.
Yeah. So survival and
Yes.
combatness
Hmm.
has nothing to do with taste.
Yes.
Actually, in combat, even if you find something,
Yeah.
okay, चलते फिरते रेंगते हुए, तो भाई that is your
Yes.
the nearest survival.
Of course.
Because I think you've seen the grills guy in Discovery, he jumps, वो काटता है.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real way to tell you about survival.
Hmm.
Okay, right. So we spoke about MREs, we spoke about our Nepalese culture, and we spoke about the restaurant. So that was there. So coming to the end, because we discussed the entire portions
Hmm.
of the culture, ethics, and food and thing. So what's your take for the young generations who are from Nepal, who are from
Hmm.
Darjeeling? How can they spread community? Not only the Nepali community, but all communities, say Telugu community, Maharashtrian community,
Hmm.
the Kerala community. So everybody is a community.
Hmm.
Everybody is responsible for their
Yes.
own community
Yes.
because the foundation is from there.
Yes.
So what's your message for them? Like,
So, like if you're trying to spread about something about your community through food. So I'll say is like, the best way to spread your ethics, your culture, is by sticking to your roots. Now you have to stick to your roots. You have to stick to the basic. The only thing which you have to develop is new skills, new way of cooking. You have to incorporate modern twist. Like you have to learn skills. The basic things you have to learn. So like if you don't know how to hold a knife, you have to learn how to hold a knife. You don't know how to cut, you have to learn how to cut. After learning all those things, like there are a lot of things to be learned. After learning all those things, when you come back to your roots, you'll see a lot of possibilities. You can do a lot of things. Even if I see a momo at this moment, I'll have that vision कि मैं इसका ये भी कर सकता हूँ, मैं ये डाल के ये भी कर सकता हूँ,
Okay.
and then a lot of things comes up.
Okay.
A lot of things pops up into my mind कि मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ, वो भी कर, lots of possibility comes to, like essence वही रहेगा. But like different things could be created sticking to your culture.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of chefs nowadays, they are incorporating their own Gurkha khana with, like a lot of the
Yeah.
ingredients, foreign ingredients are coming with the different dishes, and people are loving it.
Yeah, completely. I
So
agree with you because जो महाराष्ट्र में डब्बा सिस्टम है,
yes,
महाराष्ट्र, the food. There is a lady in Maharashtra from Pune or Mumbai. She serves home food food. She's I think मतलब good business standards today because home food is what is preferred. People
yes,
no fast food is okay for some time, but I think at the end of the day it is that घर का खाना जो
yes,
डब्बा में जैसे भी पहुंच जाए and they want to have that.
yes, yes,
So to conclude that we found out what culture and food can relate to us.
hmm,
So we spoke about different delicacies, how the delicacies are part of the Gurkha culture, what they have. We spoke about Darjeeling and tea. So can you tell us about tea? So we forgot about speaking about tea and a sweet dish before we leave because
okay,
अंत में तो
yeah,
मीठा खाना होता है.
of
So
course.
can we have
So I'll talk about dessert first. जो अपने आपको मैंने
yes,
जो
yes,
दिया था.
yes.
So it's basically, if I'm talking about technically बोल रहे, it's basically a panna cotta made of matcha. Matcha is a green tea,
Okay.
powdered green tea. So yeah, I made a panna cotta.
Hmm.
On the top cream था उसके ऊपर
Mm-hmm.
भी, और नीचे पे आपका बेस पे आपका ये था chocolate soy.
Okay.
And on the top it was candy
Uh-huh.
floss, or the what we call is cotton candy.
Right.
So like it has its own significance because the panna cotta and the whipped cream usually represented the lush valleys of Darjeeling,
Right. Right.
like tea plantation and all those, and the white whipped cream, it represented the Mount Kanchenjunga.
Kanchenjunga.
Yes. So on the bottom there were like chocolate soil, which represented the different like unfamiliar, or like I'll say like rugged terrain of Darjeeling. And the cotton candy, it represented the beautiful unpredictable weather of Darjeeling.
Mhm.
So that is like like kind of thing which
So
represent
that's the
Darjeeling, the
complete
Gorkha
Himalayan
thing.
Gurkha.
Yes.
So I named it as Gurkha
Yeah,
hill.
you can, you could, you
So
could.
that was a name for it because it
Of course,
represents Gurkha's
of course,
mascot. So
of
the
course,
hill is his
of course,
mascot and thing.
of course.
So the for viewers, this is about the the food delicacy we just spoke. नेपाली में बन्छ कि यो खाना सबभन्दा इम्पोर्टेन्ट इज फूड नेपालीजहरूको खाना न राम्रो हुनु पर्यो बिकज अदरवाइज दे विल नट लाइक इट सो खाना इज वान अफ द थिङ द्याट दे वुड लाइक टु ह्याभ not some chance, but they would like to have a very tasty and a good food that they can survive on, even in the forge. I'm talking about in the army, right? So that we have come to the end part
Okay.
to the discussion.
Okay.
So we also had tea other day at your place.
Hmm.
We have Red Label, we have Taj Mahal tea, we have CTC, we have पता नहीं क्या क्या चाय है आज के दिन में, n number of teas, okay. And there's Darjeeling tea, there is Assam tea, there is some other teas also available. I think local grown teas or something. Why is Darjeeling tea peculiar, and why people admire to have it? Does it have something else to relate to, or what is it?
So Darjeeling tea, as you know, like one of the best, as they say. So like like why Darjeeling tea is valued a lot, because like the weather of Darjeeling plays a very vital role in like to cultivate that peculiar flavor in Darjeeling tea.
Okay.
So like like Darjeeling weather is such, like अभी सूरज आता है, अभी बारिश आता है, अभी कुछ हो जाता है, you can't predict. That kind of weather usually like is very suitable for growing a premium quality tea. So Darjeeling का वही है कि उसका weather एक बहुत like one of the best thing is the weather. Another thing is that there are different variations and different types of tea which is produced in the entire year. Same bush, same plant रहेगा, but the tea plant leaves which are getting has its own characteristics.
Right.
If you're there, तीन चार flush रहता है, I guess. There's like first flush, second flush, autumn flush, three flush mostly, and each flush has its own distinct flavor. And first flush being one of the premium. So उसमें क्या रहता है कि आपका एकदम notes बहुत subtle रहते हैं. It's very subtle. It's very, you know, like the flavors are very not that bothering. दूसरे में क्या रहता है कि all the other teas usually have that, you know, bitterness. Those things will be missing in that thing. And how you brew the tea also, that is also one of the biggest factor. You cannot boil it.
Boil
Like
it
what
and yeah.
people usually do is like get the CTC and they boil it for an hour and then have it, mix it with milk and then have it. That's not the way to drink
Drink the
Darjeeling
tea.
tea.
Okay.
So like, you know, in Darjeeling tea, you have to, you don't even have to boil the water. You just have to bring it to a temperature between 90-95 degree. Like it's when it's about to be boiling. So you have to bring that water to that temperature, and then you have to pour it on the tea, and you brew it for not more than 5 minutes, and then you
Drink the
drink
tea.
it.
Oh, nice.
That's the way you drink it. And if you're using a first flush, you can use that tea leaves for 3 times at least.
Okay.
If you are brewing it
Three
for the
times.
first time,
Okay.
you can use it for second and third time too.
Okay.
And beyond that, you won't be able to do it.
Right.
But for the autumn flush, we usually don't recommend.
Oh.
But the first flush is such tea, like, you know, if you
Fantastic
can.
thing which I know I think most of them would not know. Maybe India is a nation of chai. हर जगह चाय ही पीना है.
हाँ जी,
Train
हाँ
में भी
जी.
चाय. You know, you go anywhere, there is tea available for
Yeah.
everybody, or people just want to have tea.
Yeah.
Tea is, I don't know what. See, even my mother, okay, she's a big time tea lover, and all mothers are so, because that's the relief when
Yes, it is.
it's a meditation, hallucination, call whatever, because that's how they, you know, get calmer or something like that. So yeah. So speaking about tea, thank you for letting us to know about tea
My
and
pleasure.
you know, the entire food. It was amazing speaking to you on such important aspects of culture, about food, about how you have connected the dots of culture from Darjeeling, coming down to a place in Pune, and started to merge with the people and spread your culture through restaurant, through means of your Yeti and monk. I wish you all the luck for your venture here in Pune, and may the food be spread to others too. And also I wish, and this food may be the international forum very soon.
Thank you so much, Major Naidu. And it was a pleasure. It is an opportunity which you gave me to talk about my culture, my food, and my restaurant. So thank you so much.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we had an interesting conversation with Biki Gurung. So Biki Gurung is a chef and also individual who's spreading the culture through his passion of food, serving different delicacies of different cultures of Nepal, of Gurkhas, Khaskar, from Darjeeling, Kalimpong, and Nepal in Pune. He is the chief chef and also the founder at Yeti and Monk in Pune. Anybody who desires to go and have a bite must please visit him. I would leave the address in the link. That's it for today's episode in Gurkha Guard. If you like such content, please like, share, and subscribe the Gurkha Guard. Thank you.